Before we get started, I highly recommend that you play the entire game through yourself. If you haven't played it yet, go through at least once by yourself and try and figure out the puzzles and everything on your own. Unfortunately, you won't see any of the achievements pop at the end, but I will tell you at the exact point in which it would normally be popping. As far as the beginning, I don't know if you can load into the level select or not, so I always just pick new game and watch this short cutscene. But the time does not start yet. The time starts as soon as you gain control on the yellow wall with the analog sticks. You'll see 2 analog sticks pop up. That's when the timer starts. And that's actually where the very first trick starts as well. So as soon as this pops up, you do not have to sign the paper. Just do a 360 and you can walk through. For the most part, you can skip this as well. For the most part, this entire first level is pretty easy. So we're just going to breeze through it. Drop that, the bottom one makes it a little bit easier.
Will adapt you to eyelids, our interactive, lucid induction dream state in which you retain full consciousness and control.
Unfortunately, I don't know a way to make that level right there a little faster. I wish I did. But in my opinion, we're not actually too terribly pressed for time. I think when I beat this, I beat it in like 32 minutes roughly, 33, something like that, and that's including load times. Load times on the Series X are about probably half of what they are on the Xbox One, I've heard.
During eyelids, you will lose the ability to awaken suddenly due to realizing that this is a dream. Evidence.
Just checking my phone.
I have already informed you that this is a dream.
So I normally just pick that cube up and throw it at the wall, hopefully.
Orientation activities.
Well, that's gonna put a damper on things. There we go. Hopefully that doesn't affect it.
Environments perceived during eyelids should reflect a typical mental state.
Alrighty.
If you believe your mental state was compromised by somnasculpt, please provide a comprehensive, rational explanation in your post-procedural survey. Completed surveys may be eligible for a gift card.
This first mission's a little bit boring once you've done it enough times. For this, I highly recommend picking it up at an angle like I did right here, and then use the shadow to find out where it's going to fall. It will sometimes tip over once you get into this doorway, so you have to be quick walking through the second one, otherwise you might get trapped in that room, which is inevitably a restart. Luckily there aren't too many of those in this game though. Cheese. And unfortunately, I do not have a tracker going right now, so I don't know what my splits are, but it shouldn't matter too much. Like I was saying before, there's quite a bit of leeway in the time required to complete these puzzles, so it shouldn't be necessary. This hallway right here always goes left, by the way. Take this right, move the door. I actually got stuck on it right there. And for this room, normally what you would do is you'd pick up that sign and try and make a bridge. Instead, I'm going to use this lamp. This is a pretty easy trick to learn. You just have to kind of jump backwards off the lamp. Okay, well, of course I'm going to mess it up when I'm trying to explain it, but you're going to jump backwards off the lamp and then mantle over the wall. Okay, well, This is one instance in which probably would have been faster to have just made the made the ramp. But once you get that down, that is a huge time saver. I'm actually pretty surprised I messed that up as many times as I have.
I'd like to talk to you about being special. So special, in fact, that we have no idea where you are. But not to worry, we're working on it.
And I know there is a slight skip for time that you can do by using the first cube to bypass having. Oh no, I didn't grab it. To bypass having to grab the second cube. I have not been able to do that successfully a singular time, so I think it's about the same time to just pick up the second cube as it is to do that skip, so long as you ace all the rest of the puzzles. Oh, just gonna keep moving along.
My name is Dr. Glenn Pierce, and I'm just popping in to give you a quick update on where you are. We still don't know, but please keep moving forward, and hopefully you prefer frequent updates to being reminded that you are completely lost.
Really wish there was a running option in this game. Once you get good enough at these puzzles, it kind of turns into a walking simulator at times.
Hello, my name is Dr. Glenn Pierce, and we still can't find you. But you should now have access to a series of elevators that should trigger your subconscious to gradually wake you up. You should also find a variety of emergency exit signs that should lead you to them. Will all of this work? Absolutely.
A little tip is to not let that door get too terribly big. If you let it get too big, then it actually takes longer to walk from that door to this elevator because you're smaller. So the idea is to try and keep that door as accurate to your height as possible whenever you're dropping it. And that will continue with every other doorway that we end up having to manipulate throughout the game. Best case scenario is you keep yourself as big as physically possible going through these puzzles to try and keep the momentum up.
This is an automated message for all patients who attempted to use an alternate pathway to access the next phase of somnasculpt therapy, but who have become trapped in a dream state paradox instead. Your decisions imply a failure of orientation, which reflects negatively on the standard orientation protocol. You will rectify this failure.
Make sure you don't forget to grab that cube. Drop this cube right here at the door so that we don't have to grab the second one in this room.
Professional tip: the average adult can only withstand 3 to 5 dreams per night. Once this threshold is eclipsed by entering more dreams, your mind will suffer an explosive mental overload, reorienting you for the emergency exit.
You can actually make it over that without even grabbing those cubes, but I like to move it forward just to make sure I don't halt myself. I'm going to grab this one and put it downward, and then grab onto this one. And kind of move it while walking. It goes a little bit faster that way, not by much. But
associated with explosive mental overload implies a misunderstanding of all other solutions, all of which are far more traumatic and likelier to result in catastrophe. I am not capable of suboptimal suggestions. Please
and when you get to that cube right there, make sure that you pick it up and immediately drop it so that the cube explodes before placing it where you want your cube to be to climb up. And as soon as you hit the floor, you have to pull a 180. I almost messed that part up. But yeah, if you pick that one exploding cube up and then place it where you want to climb up, the cube will explode and it'll make it a little bit harder for you to get your cube in the right spot. It might end up slowing you down slightly. So I highly recommend picking the cube up, immediately dropping it and letting it break apart, then walk close to it so the cube becomes bigger when you pick up one of the smaller ones. so that you can use just a singular one to climb up that.
Hello, my name is Dr. Glenn Pierce, and despite touring the Waterfall Serenity Zone in the previous section you've just completed,
if I'm not mistaken, this is the horror, or I guess aka nightmare level. This is probably one of my favorite and most hated levels at the same time. It's my favorite because it's the most aesthetically pleasing in my opinion. It is my most hated, and you will find out why if you tune into the next video that I plan to make, which is the mindful achievement for speedrunning, or not for speedrunning, for completing all the challenges in challenge mode. Okay, I seem to have gotten stuck there. There we go. We're just going to walk right past that. If you jump, it actually slows you down. This part right here gets a little tricky. But you kind of want to jump like right there.
Hello, my name is Dr. Glenn Pierce, and I'd like to talk more about the feelings of worthlessness and self-doubt I mentioned before. You feel this way because you want the kind of happy life you see all around you.
And I've actually seen people, the area that we need to go to
exactly why we're here to help.
here in just a second after this dark room. You obviously want to turn around and walk backwards until you can see the staircase and then go up for this puzzle, but here in just a second when we get to the light puzzle where we have to go down that hallway right there using this light in front of us. I know a lot of people say that it's much faster to just skip grabbing the light, but I beg to differ. I find it's much harder to, it takes a lot longer and it's much harder to remember the pathway without having a light to make it through this. And I mean, as if that doesn't already look hard enough as it is with the light, much less going without it. And then for this one, I actually really don't use the light because it just slows you down trying to get it in the right position. But as soon as you climb up on that, you're just going to walk backwards and then do a 180, and you'll find your way through it pretty easily.
Did you know that unintentional multi-dream layering occurs in less
and then
than
this
1%
mission is
of
basically
patients?
done
This correlates
after we get
strongly
through
with
this
the
next
99%
little
of
room.
patients who are able to follow simple instructions from the standard
Fairly easy
orientation
puzzles for this
protocol.
one. Make sure to turn that generator on. If you don't turn the generator on, you cannot progress through the rest of this. I've actually had to restart a run because of that. Otherwise, this elevator won't work. There we go. I think that is mission 4. We had introduction, optical, cubism, and then yes, this was number 4. So we're starting up on chapter 5. I didn't mention this earlier, if you caught it the first time that I turned that on, but make sure to carry this door, by the way. You have to carry this door to the little button. I've actually already done the fire extinguishers, which is why my fire extinguishers are shooting fire instead of the white extinguisher powder. Go right here, hit this door a few times to expand it, and then climb over the wall. These puzzles will start to ramp up a little bit here soon, so
Dr. Pierce requires you to note the following risks of
this one can be a little tricky. I sometimes do still mess this one up.
Both quantitative and qualitative. Hallucinations of dreaded or annoying objects.
Just to be
Unrealistic
safe, I'll
beliefs
go ahead
about the lengths of hallways. And other side effects
Climb
which
up
have
that.
not yet
There
been
we go.
discovered or which cannot be understood.
You see the smiley face for the reticle? Oh, it already went away, apparently. Turn this one into a big apple. There we go. And for this one, you actually, I mean, you should already know how to do most of these puzzles by now anyways, if you followed my instructions and played it a few times by yourself first. But for this one, you don't actually have to do anything until you get to the button up here. Just drop an apple on it.
Warning. Dr. Pierce is frantically submitting numerous spelling and grammar mistakes into the standard orientation protocol in a desperate attempt to counsel you.
And this sign right here can be a little bit tricky at times as well.
Compromise the integrity of the standard orientation protocol. You will not receive these messages. They would not make sense regardless.
There we go. So essentially what I did right there is I placed, I kind of just tapped the sign to make a little ramp going up the first section, and then the second section, as soon as I got up there, I made a big sign by getting closer to the sign prior to making another one, so that I could make that jump, because if not, then you can't make that jump. And I think that's the end of number 5. So we're moving on to 6 now. We have 3 more, including 6. I don't believe that 9 counts, if I'm not mistaken. 9 might count. Don't take my word for that. If you are going for the what's it called? It's this little space rooms.
My name
One
is
of them
Dr.
is
Glenn
behind that
Pierce.
door back there to
This
the
is a
right.
notification
Wrong way.
that you have reappeared on our monitoring system
Fire.
after a prolonged absence. Please continue to do whatever you did most recently, and discontinue whatever you were doing immediately prior to that.
Alright. This part can be very easily messed up if not done correctly. So you have to, I think I was actually a little bit too big on that one. Or too small. So you have to be normal height to get over that jump and then get to this back room. But you have to make yourself smaller by making this bigger on the second jump in order to make it through this doorway. But if you make yourself smaller to try and make it faster the first go around, you can't make it through the initial jump. And this section right here is basically a whole lot of nothing. Just kind of walking through these back hallways, killing time.
My name is Dr. Glenn Pierce. In addition to continuing and discontinuing as mentioned earlier, please also disregard any unsettling experiences that you may have recently had. Everything should have
Fun
moved
fact, you
further
actually
to
do
be
not have to
serving
drop the
and
fan
therapeutic.
in order for this
If this is not the case,
puzzle to be finished.
you
All
may
you have to do
be
is
receiving
pick up the
this
fan.
message in error.
And in my opinion, it's actually easier to do that because you don't blow the door as far away. It makes it a little bit easier for you to grab onto it. Alrighty, and that is that section. This one right here with the bouncy house, this was a little bit intimidating.
Hello,
The
my
first
name is
playthrough,
Dr.
or my
Glenn
first
Pierce,
attempt at the
and I'd like to
speedrun.
read you my favorite inspirational
It's actually
quote I
not
made.
quite as hard as it
The
seems,
worst
so long
thing
as you can get
is
this
focus on negativity.
sizing right the
It
first go
won't spare
around.
you from the cage
But
of
it's actually
death,
pretty,
the
yeah,
pain
see,
of
it's
disease,
pretty hard
the
to get
cruelty of
the
time,
the
cold
correct
shell of human nature,
size
and the eventual loss of
for the
everything
bouncy
you've
house.
ever held dear. Whatever you do, don't focus on that.
Yeah, I absolutely hate this part. There we go. I almost didn't get it right there. That is, the bouncy house is the most finicky of all of the doorways that you have to control. We're just going to push it up against the wall and then drop it right there so that we can go through the exit door. And we actually made ourselves a little bit smaller than what I would have liked. This is one of those instances in which had we have made ourselves a little bit bigger than what I just did, then we would have made it through that a little bit
My
easier.
name is Dr. Glenn Pierce.
I'm actually going to walk up and just kind of grab that door
one of our
from a distance. I didn't go far
823
enough.
emergency protocols. This will assist us greatly in improving the system for future patients. Congratulations. Anyway,
Okay, well,
you're
I didn't
now
know.
headed in the right direction, and we should be able to initiate the emergency exit protocol shortly.
There we go. That's what I was attempting to do. Oh, there's no way that didn't work. We might have messed up, boys. There we go. It's a bit annoying, but you will run into quite a few issues on this one. It's very hard to adjust those doors properly every single time. You're gonna run into issues with those more often than not. But for the most part, you end up making up for it if you can get fast enough with the other puzzles in the game. Then those slight errors on the door puzzles end up getting made up for, so it's okay. I think we have 2 more missions left, or 2 more levels left, sorry. And this one, I'm not actually sure if we have to make it all the way to the elevator at the end or not. It seems like it might just be on a timer. It seems like there might just be a timer that like automatically teleports you back into the like bedroom at a certain point, but I haven't like, done enough testing to confirm that. But timer or no timer, even if it is on a timer, it doesn't take too long to walk to this door. I mean, normally what ends up happening is by the time you open that door, do a 180, and then walk back to the bedroom, you'll end up waking back up pretty much around the same time as you'd be getting back there anyway, so there's too much.
Improved hypothesis. Patient requires additional somnasculpt therapy. Conclusion. Emergency exit protocol cannot proceed. Emergency exit protocol has been emergency destroyed. Instruction. Continue with somnasculpt therapy indefinitely on an independent basis, as all orientation resources have been exhausted. This concludes your standard orientation protocol. Goodbye.
There we go. Just kind of gotta wait on her to teleport us. There we go. And this is another one of those ones where it kind of like you just walk until it teleports you, and it basically happens at the same time every time. Yep, there we go. Oh, I forgot to do the stupid clock. Yeah, for this one you have to hit that clock for the first time. In all these missions, you have to hit it in order for it to teleport you. It'll do it at this door. There we go. Now, as soon as we come back from this one, just turn around, drop, and then we're going to walk to this chair. Oh, yeah. I haven't messed that up in a long time. Forgot what I was supposed to do there. Yeah, let's just grab that painting real quick.
Hello, my name is Dr. Glenn Pierce. Thank you for completing the
Dr. Glenn
Standard
Pierce.
Orientation Protocol. Before you begin the first
There we
phase of
go.
therapy, I'd like
It's about to start
briefly
getting crazy
describe
looking.
the finite and fragile nature of the dream state.
Drop through this doorway, and then once the sign hits, we'll pick this door up. Walk down the hall.
Of course, nothing
You actually don't need to do anything in this one, but just walk up to this wall. That cube is
of
fake.
fundamentally altering your perceptions in a way that will enable you
Find
to
the
face
table.
dire
Table's right
trial
here.
by fire scenarios with solutions that could not be found otherwise.
Okay. Fall right on the elevator. what's going to happen is as soon as you see this open, you're going to start walking backwards. There we go. And for this one, you always look in the opposite direction of the sign. So if it says left, you look right. You'll know you did it right when you hear a ding. Just like that. I think we have to do this 6 times. There we go. Do a 360. That's the only way to get the cube to spawn back, is to do a 360 right there. This one's fake, you can just skip over it. We're gonna go straight for the real one. Oh, missed it.
Finally, while we respect the unique progress of every patient, you must understand that it is possible to completely exhaust your supply of dreams. Thereby,
almost jumped prematurely right there. Would have missed the jump.
Even with the help of triggering mechanisms.
There we go. This is just a pretty cool little teleporting sequence. Just try and get through it as fast as possible. And for this section, we're just going to look at the floor. You'll occasionally see an arrow. Just walk forward until you see one. There we go. Says to go right. Left. Left. Straight. And we're out. Click the clock. There we go.
Please listen carefully for the sound of an alarm clock.
Alright, and for this one, as soon as you walk out of that section, you're going to start walking until you see, like, walk at an angle so that you hit 2 walls at once. Otherwise, you have to walk towards all 4 walls. You can kind of see by looking at the ground right here how I'm walking from corner to corner instead of side to side. You have to hit all 4 walls in order to make this spawn, which is going to teleport us out of here. There we go. Just a little bit more to go. Almost done. This one's going to be pretty fast, pretty easy, so we're just going to pick this guy up. This is actually the first time we're going to get like a legitimate break in a little while. So you have to walk through this door first at least one time, then you're going to pick it up and walk it through the back door. That's going to cause the entire world to kind of collapse underneath of us in our dream state. And this is the prime time to get a sip of your drink or whatever it is that you got going on. You don't get a whole lot of breaks in between of these missions, especially on the Series X, as fast as the load times are. Oh, there we go. Just be ready to start walking forward as soon as you see the screen go like completely white. You see the loading sequence at the bottom right. We're just gonna walk right through this door. And this is pretty much the home stretch right here. There's only really a few puzzles that can halt your progress, and I'll explain those when we get there. For these, for the most part, we're just kind of walking. We're gonna make it right through that, fall again, grab that and move it. I'll try and explain these as best as I can, as hard as it is to see some of what I'm doing here as I'm going as well.
My name is Dr. Glenn Pierce, and many years ago, I had a dream. I found myself in a place where I understood that
pretty much all this last little section right here is.
Where everything I perceived was shaped by seeing it exactly the way I wanted to. White space.
This will teleport you out before you get to the end. Alright, we're going to turn around and look for this shadow to walk through. to tell us where to go. There it is. I got a little turned around there. The sensitivity was kind of messing with me. But it's always, that's never going to change. You're always going to land and then immediately turn around and go to the right so you can find that one file cabinet. And for this, we're gonna walk backwards until it gets to about the size of a normal block that we would walk up. That's about right. There we go. If you grab it too early, you might get stuck there, kind of adjusting it, trying to get the size right and stuff. And we're gonna look directly at this square, this white square with the light switch. And then whatever you use as your interact button, I use my right trigger. Start tapping it as you're walking towards it, so that as soon as you get close enough, you turn it off. Now we're just going to turn around. We're going to walk through the stairs, do a little loop around, and then we'll get teleported before we make it to the end of this. There we go. Alrighty. Don't go through that door. Instead, we're going to walk to the white part and walk to the back side where there's a hidden door. And then we get to this little section, just kind of walk through this door. Now, the next one can be very easily messed up, and I'm going to try and explain this very quickly as I go. But basically, normally you would pick these up, and the only way that the ground turns solid is if you put it on one of these little squares. We're going to try and get it right in between of two of them so that we actually don't have to pick them up as often. So you can see I've got it in between of both of those so I can walk on two squares at once. Do the same thing with that one. Oh, I messed it up. Alright, well that's fine. Should still have plenty of time. You can see I got a little ahead of myself right there. I went to pick it up while I was still on the square, which is something you definitely don't want to do. But we're just going to make sure, yes, it's on it. We're going to place this one right there. Make sure we're off the square this time first. And that eliminates half of the amount of times that we would normally have to move those. In my situation just now, obviously that didn't help me at all because I messed it up the first go around, but that's okay. Make sure to grab this cube before going through the door. You have to place it on the ground, walk out, grab the cheese, place it in here, and then walk through. Otherwise, that door is solid and it will not let you pass. Just walk up the cheese and jump through. And then for this part, I like to try and line myself up. We're going to walk down about two of them and then start spinning. It goes a little bit faster this way. There we go. Find the door. There we go. Fall through there, and that is the end of this section right here. The next one is kind of like the epilogue. Got the little 8 a.m. thing, and if I'm not mistaken, we should get the achievement when we get back to, if you remember just a minute ago, obviously I stated this once at the beginning of the video, you won't see the achievement pop up on the screen because I've already unlocked them. The profile that I'm playing on right now currently has all the achievements. But yep, right here in this room, this is where the achievement would pop. We are definitely sub 35. I'll put on screen now what we actually are because I'll obviously have to look back at the video. But
my name is Dr.
you'll know this room from earlier where I said that you'd find the filing cabinet, and then the filing cabinet has the shadow that you can walk through or whatever. It's obviously solid this time. But as soon as you make it to that room, none of this part right here actually counts. You don't have to do anything here. You can kind of just chill and let it play through, or you can quit. That's what I'm going to opt to do.